Carcon Carne is sponsored by AlexRossArt.com. Alex Ross, his artwork reminds us all why we are such fans of these characters, not just the DC and Marvel characters that he paints, but everything from pop culture. I was looking at AlexRossArt.com recently, and what he did with the Universal monsters, specifically the Mummy and Dracula, absolutely mind-blowing. It's fun just to leaf through the pages of AlexRossArt.com, but you can also, while you're there, pick up a signed comic, complete with a certificate of authenticity, or invest in original art. We're talking covers for Hulk, Iron Man, Amazing Spider-Man, Secret Wars, such cool stuff. AlexRossArt.com. If you're going to the San Diego Comic-Con next month, July 2023, Alex Ross Art will be there, booth 2415, or like I said, just visit AlexRossArt.com. This is Carcon Carne. I'm James Van Ostel. This podcast right here named the best music podcast in the city of Chicago, according to the readers of the Chicago Reader in the Best of 2022 issue. And as I'm on the topic of this podcast and Chicago music, lots of local stuff coming up. Returning Chicago heroes like Janet Beveridge Bean of 11th Dream Day and Freakwater. Also, the returning Blue Meanies will be on this show within the next month. Also, current favorites like Mirrors, Glory Days, Nathan Graham, The Evictions, Bullet to the Heart, Colleen Wilde. So much coming up right here on this podcast. Sometimes it'll be virtual like this. Other times it'll be in the car. I'm not sure how it'll all play out, but lots of local music, lots of podcasting on the way. My guest tonight, it is a band. It is a musical guest. They are avant-garde. They're post-punk. They're experimental. They're prog. They're punk. They're a little bit of a lot of things, and they're one of the best bands in Chicago, certainly one of the tightest. Please welcome to the show. It is Avantist. Hi, guys.
Oh.
So, Empty Bottle. I'm recording this on the 12th of June. I've got to get this edited and up soon because you're playing Empty Bottle on Wednesday, June 14th. It is your single release show.
Yes.
I got to be honest, Avantist, a bargain at any price, but $10.
Come on, you can't go wrong with
Can't
that.
go wrong.
Can't go wrong.
Is it $10?
It's $10. The
$10.
That right there, Avantist, is the deal of the century. As I'm sure you'll agree. So I mentioned it's the single release show. That single is Hexagon, a song that in a very short amount of time goes in a lot of different directions, probably 6. You're living up to your avant-gardist band name on this song in particular.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, that song was it was an old demo that we had, and we were pulling up our old demos, and we're like, what should we pull from the past that we haven't used? And we were looking through our library, and this song was completely fleshed out, right, David?
Yeah, it was pretty much done.
Yeah, and it was like, what the heck is going on with this one? And then wait, where did we?
No, and then it was a done song, and then they were just maybe a minute ago it was done, but I remember them just kind of presenting it to me, and me just being like, oh yeah, that's cool, and it's just a lot of our dynamic is, a lot of it locks in with them three first, with Erick, David, and Luis first. And, 9 times out of 10, I'll just be like, because of our symbiosis or whatever, I'll just jump in, and it's like, oh, that's exactly what we want for the song, and perfect, and there's the song. With this one, it just never clicked. It just was like, oh, cool. And it's like, you could hear it in the instrumental. It's a very, complicated kind of angular, there's no real straightforward way of doing it.
There's time changes.
Yeah, and so I didn't see anything at all in the beginning, and I was just like, okay, that's fine. And then we had gone a couple times to New York to record our new album. This was the first session that we did out there. We were out in Maudo from American Utopia's
studio.
His studio, New York, and we were having a great time just playing stuff, laying stuff out, and they laid that one out, because it was there, it was done, and there was no lyrics, no nothing, and it was essentially a down day where it was just, I think it was just me and David in the studio. We were we were hanging out just all day. I think Erick and Luis went on a search for some sort of vegan bagel or whatever they could find. It was downtime pretty much. And I'm just sitting there, we're in the studio, and I just start putting on some wrestling because I'm a pretty big wrestling fan. And I started watching a lot of Pentagon Jr., a lot of Lucha Brothers, like a lot of that, and I was just playing it back to back to back. And I was just like, oh my God, I think I know what it is, like I think I got it, and I just remember kind of presenting it to David, being like, oh, that could work, whatever, and then we finally decided, like, okay, let's do a run, like let's perform it and get it with whatever I had. And the first run of it, the only thing that existed was the chorus, Sin Miedo Cabrón, that was the thing that I broke, like just, I don't know what it was, because Pentagon Jr., his slogan is Cero Miedo. So I was just kind of playing off of that. I really was thinking kind of like inspired, kind of like a theme for a wrestler. So like the first iteration of that song was improvised. Besides that chorus, it was improvised, and it was pretty good. And then we just decided, like, oh, we really like it, so we built off of it. And I mean, just the world that we live in, more and more things happen, and the lyrics got a little bit sharper, they got a little more pointed, and essentially it turned into just a combination of the kind of the confidence and like the strength in like wrestling and the performing of it, times like a genuine call to arms, like a genuine kind of like revolutionary battle yell, because it's exhausting what we're living through right now. So I feel like this song is a really good release for that, at least to try to wake something up in somebody. So
it is exhausting. And by the way, had you not explained that, I never would have picked up on anything professional wrestling related in that 2-minute song. There's no way. But let's talk a little bit about songwriting. It seems like with Avantist, every idea is kind of fair game. It seems like you brothers, you bandmates, need to keep challenging yourselves when you get into a studio or get into a songwriting situation.
Yeah, it's definitely it's funny when you say challenge. It hasn't really felt like a challenge. like it's almost just like it's fun, get down there. Yeah, it's like fun for us to just go down there and see where it takes us. So like I think what was challenging was when we were in New York writing this stuff. A really cool thing that our friend Bobby told us, who recorded a lot of our new tracks that we're writing. We were like in a funk during like the pandemic, like as many people were, and we were like improvising stuff, and we would like think of an idea, and like one of us would shoot it down, be like, that's not cool, or that's not,
or judge it like
right away, and then we would stop, and then Bobby would be like, no, like keep playing, like play through that, and we would have to. That was a challenge that we like stepped up to.
That was a good like step. It was literally a step we took where it was just like, oh, let's not
ever do that again.
Shut that down. Yeah.
Yeah. So like it got to a point where we were blocking ourselves, and then him giving us inspiration of like, no, just work through it and then see what comes out. Like it gave us more confidence with each other's ideas and stuff. So like since what was that, 2020, 2021 or something like that, when we come down here to write, we're just like, just anything works. Like just keep fucking writing,
And you said anything.
Can we swear?
Yeah.
And like you said, like anything goes, and that's pretty much like our motto, because some days it'll just be me and Dave writing something, and we'll think of like something like really funky, or something we did in New York is like very pop with auto tune and stuff like that. And then other days Eric will be like, I want to make an electro dance track, and then we'll do that. And so like we just compile all these ideas, and we just see like if they work together, or we can mix them up and like do whatever.
We're definitely not short of inspiration, that's for sure. We definitely try to pull from as much as we can.
I definitely have like days when like I'm listening to like just one genre of music, or like just one thing, and then like I take that energy and I'm just like, okay, I want to write a song like this song, and then I bring that to the brothers sometimes, and then or sometimes like we're jamming together and something like that comes out. But it's just mostly like what we're feeling at the time, I guess.
Yeah, that's the beauty of being an independent artist. You follow your own rules, and you follow the muse wherever it takes you.
Right.
Well, let's talk a little bit about inspiration, because you are brothers. You grew up together. I remember talking to Dave 3 years ago during the pandemic on this podcast, learning about your dad, who, comes from a musical background. He was mariachi, was in radio, would bring home records. You grew up around music. You grew up together learning about music and probably being inspired by the same things. I had a conversation with Josh Caterer of Smoking Popes a couple nights ago on this podcast, and I referenced the fact that I saw him live earlier this year and he was performing with his daughter on stage. They did a couple songs together, and he mentioned this concept of blood harmonies, how harmonies among blood relatives are just different from any other harmonies. I've got to think that coming up together and being inspired together and having that kind of DNA, it just puts you in a different place from other bands. Am I?
It's an advantage. It's an advantage.
It absolutely, it feels almost unfair sometimes.
It's an advantage, but it really took a lot of growing up in time to really like keep trusting ourselves with who we are and really accepting each other's individuality to like really get to that point. Because it is like now it feels like water, like oxygen. It feels like, you know, there's nothing going to change that. But it did take a lot of trial and error and a lot of like conversation, a lot of arguments, a lot of that stuff to get to an understanding of how we're going to make this work. And I think that's a testament to just wanting to make things work. You know, if you really want to make something work, you're going to work it out.
Yeah.
And wait,
shut up, David, shut up.
In terms of like actual like harmonies, like singing, like me, because I also play in David's group Troigo, and I feel like when we sing together, it's like when we listen back to it, it's like, wow, like I feel like I sound really good with Dave, and like I don't normally like sing with many other people, but I feel like, I don't know, just something about, like you said, like the blood harmony, it just like melds.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and
it brings out more confidence. It brings out more confidence in each other too.
And just like the timbre and stuff too, you know, that makes sense. And then so like, and then also fun fact on our single Dead, Fern and David's voice are actually like played together like at the same time, and it does this really weird thing where it's like, even it freaks our parents out. They're like, is that Fern singing or is that Dave singing? It's
That's
like
cool.
It's actually both, you know. And then like, yeah, it's really wild because they'll sound like each other a lot too.
We made an audio illusion with that for sure.
And that was the thing for the new album too. Bobby Wooten, who was essentially, he's acting as a producer on the album essentially. He was like, the rule is everyone's singing on this album. Everyone is singing on this album, and all the songs that we've recorded so far, I should say, feature all of us doing some sort of harmony with each other at all times. So like you said, I like that term, blood. What do you call it? Blood harmony.
Blood harmony. Yeah.
You know, a fun fact too about the Smoking Popes. At one of our first shows over at when it was what was it called? It's not called the Viper Room. No, it's
Tonic Room.
No,
Cobra Lounge.
It was like a grungy, like, again, we weren't. I would say that only in the last like 5 years have we gotten to like a groove of where I could say I'm very proud of what we do. Like, not that I wasn't before, but now it's like, oh, put us up against anybody, I don't care. But they would say, like, we would always get this different band every show, a different band. We think it like this, and you sound like this. And then one time they said Smoking Popes, and I was like, I don't even know what that is, but cool, thank you. And then I listened to them, I was like, awesome. Like, I've never listened to them, and you're telling me that I'm reminding you of this feeling. So cool. You know, I guess
you get a lot of cool suggestions because of that.
Yeah. And it just makes the music better.
I wanted to say another little story about like this whole connection that we have. I just told the story last night to a friend, but one time it was when we were like rehearsing a lot. We thought that we had to practice so much, and plus we like hanging around each other. So of course it's like, oh, you want to go to the basement and play music? Fuck it. So then, but it was a point where we were practicing like every day, every week, and it was like constantly writing, constantly. It was when we all lived at our parents' house. And we had a show at Cobra Lounge, actually, and we were doing a song, Human Driver, and there's a section in there that we block out for a jam where like anything goes. And there was a time that we were so locked in with how we played where we were like fluctuating with time, like slowing down and speeding up and slowing down and speeding up on accident. And we were just like, I remember looking at you, Luis, like, what the fuck is going on?
I remember that.
I'm like, how did we, like, it was such a weird groove that we were in where, because we could like anticipate and we're hesitating and anticipating at the same time, and the jam felt surreal. Like they felt like, to be honest, it felt orgasmic. I had an orgasm with my brothers. Yeah, that's what happened.
Wow.
I'm profoundly uncomfortable. You mentioned the song "Dead." That was a single last year. You know, we're talking about Hexagon now, single release show, June 14th, Empty Bottle. Last year, they gave us the cheery up-tempo refrain of "Feels Like I'm Dead." Somehow you made it whimsical.
Feel good.
Yeah, that song's really fun because it's another example. We did a song called "Genius of My Genius" a while ago that was conceptualized the same way, where it was literally made on the spot. Like the length of the song, like 2.5 minutes, whatever. That's how long it took to write the song because it came out while we were doing
awesome.
it.
Yeah,
So,
awesome.
so like we were just playing, and then Dave was just like was yelling gibberish, and then Fern came in with the background vocals, and then like we just did a verse chorus, just to see where it went, and then it was like, okay, that's a song.
Those lyrics are gibberish. They're pretty much gibberish. It's just so funny. That's like that adds on to like the symbiotic thing that we were talking about a little bit earlier. It's just it's so weird when that happens. We're just like, oh, okay, and then
we keep trying to like chase that feeling. I think a lot of bands do. Where
trying
it's
to
like,
chase that high.
We're the one that just like writes itself, and that's because we were there at the right time. You know, we said the right things, we did the right things, and it just was perfectly matched up, and those are the best feelings.
When that happens, we try not to run away from it. Like it's very much like it's literally dead. We played it as like in order, like that was the format, and we're like, that's a pretty good format, right? We're like, yeah, and then once we all agree, that's literally the majority of the battle, and we can take it wherever we want. Honestly.
And clearly based on the lyrics, I was going through it, so like thank God for that. So
thank God for David's trauma.
And I remember Eric working on the lyrics. He was like, something in the air, something in the sand, right? Like that was your thing, right?
Mm-hmm. No, that was my thing. And then Eric wrote the second. No, Eric wrote the second verse.
Oh yeah, Eric was like, follow that. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Yeah.
That like
feeling.
That
like
feeling,
that feeling
and that the visual that you made was like, oh wow. Like,
it felt like kind of like a post-apocalyptic almost,
A little silly.
You're giving too much game. You're giving too much game.
Yeah,
don't tell people.
We don't want to tell people our secrets. Sorry, no more secrets.
Can you edit that?
I can. I just don't like editing. I had a point. I'm 800+ episodes into this. If I don't have to edit, great. If I could just make this radio verite and put it out there the way it happened, I'm cool with that. So
yes.
We're gonna have to live with that.
It's totally fine. That's
just the way it is.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things I feel like you guys were successful out of the gate, or at least there was an awareness of Avantist right out of the gate. I think it is owed in large part to the fact that you have a singular sound. I mean, there's that business cliche of differentiate or die. I think you guys clearly differentiate. I don't. You talked about who you were compared to. I can't really compare you to anybody locally. I mean, you are Avantist.
We love that. We love it too.
Fucking thing anyone's ever said to me. Thank you. I love it.
And
I think what I strive for. I love that's my goal. I love that. You're not anything. You're Avantist. Perfect.
Right. And that it enables you to play with. You've played with so many different types of artists in Chicago through the years. I think it's because you can't be pinned down as one style. I think you work with everybody.
Yeah,
We take pride in that. Especially now, like this coming up show it's just the last few shows that we've had. We've been very lucky to be able to kind of curate them a little more and curate them in the image that we like. Like before, obviously when you start off getting where you fit in, when can we get shows? I mean, we were bringing this kid to Mutiny, and he had to wait in the car until it was our set time because he was still like 14 years old. We had to do stupid little things like that to just play and just be able to play. And now we get to the point where it's like, I'm confident in our music. I'm confident in our sound. People know what we're capable of. We've made friendships in many different areas, and we can say full-heartedly or with our whole chest that we were able to curate different shows. Our biggest, one of the biggest things that kind of bothered me at the beginning of us doing this is that a lot of the shows in the beginning, I felt they were very kind of skewed, like white. They were a little more white, they were just very white, very suburban, or even not even suburban at that point. When we go to the city, it's just like these 2 or 3 bands that only hang out and that's all they like, whatever. But because of how we are and how we perform and who we are as people, okay, one show is going to have a hip hop artist on it, and the next show is going to have an electro artist on it, and this one's going to be metal, and this one's going to be this, and Avantist being that middle piece of it is enough to make that connection. It makes sense. Yeah. Exactly. Blue. So this coming up, I mean, this is going to be us. It's going to be Blood Club.
And then we got our friend Sean, a.k.a. DJ N-Word, and Miss Twink USA. They're doing a back-to-back set to open up, and they're amazing in all their fields. They're some of the best DJs, producers in Chicago and in the country, I would say, to be honest. And then Blood Club, they're awesome. They're post-punk, and they're related to what I love about it is that we played our last single release show with French Police at the Hideout. And the bassist of French Police, his name's Jesse. that is the lead singer's brother, and this is his post-punk group. And it's just like, hell yeah, we just love supporting and being supported by more family type stuff, you know. And that's a post-punk band. Like they don't play with a drummer on stage, so like it's gonna bring its own flavor to it. You know what I mean? Like a little more dark, and then we're gonna do our thing. We're I shouldn't give the secret of how we're gonna play tomorrow on Wednesday, right?
Give it to him, the groomie.
The what?
Do it.
Okay, so
I mean, Eric, this is gonna be played.
Before.
I'll have this up within the next 3 hours.
Oh
my gosh!
See,
you really don't like that.
You don't like that for nothing.
We'll just say that the show is going to have three different vibes and locations
completely different
within the empty bottle. Within the empty bottle, that is the yeah. Just think Jules Holland.
I'm intrigued. All right. So Avantist, you mentioned that there's an album in play, or songs are in play for an upcoming release. For now, we've got Hexagon, which is a chaotic and wonderful 2-minute song, and then we'll get the full album down the road. We can, I'm assuming, hear more new stuff at Empty Bottle.
The rest of the album sounds nothing like it.
Yeah, that's what's funny is that what we worked on in New York, it was very, very intimate, very emotional, very pulled back, which was very surprising. Yeah, but also it was very exciting for us because it's something that we've never done before, you know. So like
flexing more like songwriting, and like like there's a lot of times too that in some of our I love to death everything we've ever created, each individual part, but there's something that Bobby was telling us where it sounds like a lot of the times that we're all talking at the same time, like all of us with like our instruments and our, you know what I mean, our performances are all talking at the same time. And there's times where not everybody has to be talking. We could take this back and take that back. And so we played a lot with that in the new recordings, and there was a lot of there's 2 moments in the record where when we were recording them, we were crying, we're just bawling, because there's a lot of intimacy about family and like getting through stuff, and there's 2 acoustic songs. We've never recorded an acoustic song, and this is to be honest, that's one of my favorite songs of all time that we've ever written, and it's pretty intense.
It's funny because playing into or continuing with that, like I always describe, and I still kind of do describe it, especially our live performance, that us playing together, it's kind of like an argument. It just feels like it sometimes. I mean, a lot of our stuff that we've done, even though we're grossly tight and very, aware of each other and we know everything about each other, there's still always this like head-butting that always happens. Sure. That's just how we are. We all come from the same parents. We all have the same stubbornness. We all do that. And so
we're Hispanic.
Yeah, we're Latino. We're Mexicanos. It happens, like where you just get so frustrated that you just want to yell at somebody. And a lot of our beginning writing and a lot of our beginning live performances, it is a lot of it's I can feel that David wants to be heard, Luis wants to be heard, Eric wants to be heard, and then me being the outlier, before I started doing a little bit more vocal manipulation by myself, it's very much just like, where's the mic and please turn me up or whatever. And I felt like a lot of the beginning times I had to cut through, like I had to forcibly cut through, and it's a gift and a curse, or it's a blessing and it's not a blessing, or a blessing in disguise, because it forced me to learn how to sing better. It forced me to learn how to like get my voice out there, project in a proper way. But then when we're in New York writing these songs and it's just me and David acoustic guitar, it freaks me out because it's literally like, oh shit, like it's just me and Dave, like it's just
everything's quiet now.
Naked voice, and that pushed me to sing some of the best stuff I felt like I could say I'm proud of, but because it's hard, it's hard to be vulnerable that way. And I just like that, again, because like you said, we're nothing, we're Avantist, we're everything. We can have Hexagon, we can have In Your Face, blow you up, freak you out, and we can have the other side where it's just like, I'm gonna literally open my chest up to you and see what lands.
I feel like that's everybody has these nuances, and we're all complex, so we're not gonna stray away from those things. We went into that kind of territory a little bit like in our older stuff, but in this time we really went all the way in there, and I think that just makes us even more than we already were.
I love it. Okay, so Wednesday night at Empty Bottle. If someone listens to this or watches this after Wednesday, where should they go to hear Avantist music?
Go ahead, David.
That's a David question.
They could find us on Spotify. They could find us on Bandcamp. They could find us on SoundCloud. We're on Instagram. We're very active on Instagram. We're on Facebook. You can send us a personal message on, Facebook Messenger. We're on Twitter. We got Twitter. We got Twitter as well.
Tumblr. We're on all streaming platforms. Don't forget about Tidal. Don't forget about music. Don't forget about,
We're on Roblox. We're gonna have a concert on Roblox. We're actually live streaming from Roblox at Empty Bottle.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You'll see the Roblox concert and you'll see the real concert at the same time via Apple VR.
Yeah.
And for the low price of $3,500.
Exactly.
Right. Plus $10.
Yeah, the ticket's $10.
The ticket's still $10.
Yeah,
exactly.
Included with the headset.
All right, Avantist, I love you guys. Wednesday night, Empty Bottle. The new single is Hexagon. Keep doing what you do.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
Next time, let's do something barbacoa or something. Let's get in the whip. Let's get messy. Let's do
start
it.
Hitting.
We'll do donuts. We'll do donuts.
Dropping shit. Yeah.
We'll eat donuts.
Oh yeah.
Barbacoa donuts. Then we'll do donuts.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right.
I think